Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever in the world you are. And of course, we have the phone ringing in the background. Count it all. You can always count on something happening during a live stream. It always does. But anyway, I want to welcome you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about customer service. A few weeks ago, we had Jay Bear on, and we touched on, some topics around customer service, and he shared some really interesting stories, in particular, big brand stories. But today, we're going to be talking about a little bit more about a tool that might help you manage your customer service. Hint, hint. So I'm super excited about our special guest today. There's a backstory that I'll tell you about that in just a moment. But as you guys are coming in, give me a shout out. Where in the world are you this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world? Our special guest is deep into his afternoon, I think. He is from Tel Aviv. So yeah. So as you guys are coming in, just like I say, give me a shout out. Where are you? And I just want to again say welcome. Today, Chuck, as always, my friend, I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome, Charlottesville, Virginia. We have Chicago in the house. Let's see. I may have to put my glasses on so I can see all these things. Sunny Bucks. Oh, thank you, Katie. About this is new do. Let's see. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Pat Paul. Always glad to see you. We have Donna in the house from North Carolina. Welcome, everybody. Real quick, let me just share a couple of small things. Today, as always, we do giveaways. Yeah, today is no different. Let me get this one little, there we go. Got to click on the right buttons here. So today, our first giveaway is something we've never given away, I don't think, before. It's our t-shirt that says Chaos Coordinator. I don't know about y'all, but we probably all, if we're not the chaos coordinator in our business, you probably have someone in your business that is the chaos coordinator, somebody on your team. So we're going to give away a t-shirt today, as well as a Serve Don't Sell mug. Now, this mug was designed by my friend Ryan Foland over at stickfigure.store. And we're going to be giving away one of those today. So that's our giveaways. How do you win? Well, we have 3 ways that you win. The first one is sharing your aha moments in the comments area down under. So an aha moment is if you're like, I didn't know that. That's an aha moment. If you hear something, you knew it, but you needed to hear it again, that's an aha moment. So drop those comments in down under with the hashtag aha, okay? That's super important because that's how we enter you into the Wheel of Wow. You can be entered multiple times. We draw the winners at the end of today's show. So we'll make sure we announce those towards the end of today's show. The second way is tagging someone. If you know someone that will get value from today's show, tag them, sprinkle it out into the world. You never know. Somebody may see it and say, hey, I need that. I want to watch that. More the merrier is the way I look at it. And third way to win is ask questions. Obviously, I have questions. You know me. I always have my questions, but we love your questions. So ask questions. We would love, love, love to answer any and all questions that we possibly can. We also do show notes so that you don't have to take notes. So if you would like show notes from today's episode, then just drop in below notes and we'll get those out to you. We usually have them out to you within 24 hours, okay? So that way you don't have to sit here and take notes, and that's always a good thing. Let me drop that out of there. Let me see if we've got any last minute folks with us that dropped in a comment. Doesn't look like we do. I want to apologize for my voice. It's a little on the hoarse side today. I've had a cold, and it's not COVID. I did the test, but I've just got an old variety, old cold variety or whatever. I can't even think of how I want to say it this morning. Good morning, Angela. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so let me tell you guys a little bit about our special guest today. A few years ago, we started using a tool called Monday.com. We're super Like our entire business is focused around this tool now. But when we first started, I was a little reluctant, frankly, because when I first started, I was like, okay, like how's this going to help? And anyway, but Rhonda, as many of you guys know, she's like, trust me, just trust me, Kim, this is going to be amazing. And I have to say, she was right. Everything, all of our systems, all of our processes, our customer service is handled with this tool. So we're super, super excited to have somebody from Monday.com on today's show with us. But the story goes a little bit deeper. They reached out to us a couple of years ago and invited us to come to their office as a part of a campaign that they were doing. So we actually got to go to Tel Aviv, which was amazing. I mean, how many people have been to Israel, right? I mean, it was an amazing, amazing trip. Their culture, company culture is, I've never experienced anything like it. So I will say, like, I've been to Twitter headquarters, for example. Doesn't even compare. Doesn't even compare. I mean, it was an incredible experience. And like I say, we were so blessed by it. But let me tell you a little bit about Ron specifically. Ron does work for Monday.com. He is based in Tel Aviv. He leads a stellar team, a group at Monday, platform experts driving businesses of an enhanced collaborative success. So you guys put your hands together for Ron. Hey, Ron.
Hi. I have to say it's pretty presumptuous to write that I'm a nice guy, right? I now figure it that like I hope I live up to the expectation that I'll be nice. But Kim, you got me right.
Yeah, you're a nice man. It's all good.
Fantastic, fantastic.
I mean, it's okay to say you're nice. I mean, that's it.
You
Yeah,
know, I
I'm a
try,
nice guy.
I try. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. This is a hoot to get reunited like this.
yeah, absolutely. It's especially, post COVID, like, right? Like everything, it's almost like we like 2 years just like vanished almost. I mean, it didn't, but it seems like this the connections and stuff, the in person things in particular have been a struggle. I think we're people starved. That's what I keep telling people. I think we're people starved.
Exactly. I have to say, just from people hearing about the fact that I'm coming in to speak to you, and of course, remembering fondly, like when Rhonda and you came over to Tel Aviv, people at Monday are super excited by the fact that
Yeah,
I'm here speaking to you. And
yeah.
obviously, for me, such a great connection through Stories Worth Telling. That was the initiative that we were running back in the day, is basically explaining to our own team members how deep and how amazing the things that people are doing with our platform. Such an amazing time, and you, of course, were top of the class. You rock the show.
Wow, thank you. We had such a great time, and hope to come back sometime. So, tell me a little bit about, like we were talking before the show started, about how far Monday.com has come. But I always like to paint the back picture. Like, what's the backstory? How did you get started? And now when you started, you had a smaller team. When we met, you had a smaller team. Of course, now that team's so much larger. So paint a little bit of the picture. What does that journey look like for you guys?
So, a lot of times they'll say that, a certain company or an experience would be like a roller coaster. So I usually say that Monday isn't a roller coaster. Monday is just the entire amusement park. I think that the experience for me has been uncanny. I think I started off, I studied law and business, and I was on course to be a lawyer. And around, we're supposed to do an internship here in Israel in order to become and pass the bar and become a practicing lawyer. And I just about midway through decided that that was enough for me, and I want to do a bit of something else and work more around tech and startups. I got a chance to do that within my internship. So as soon as I passed the bar here in Israel, I set my sights on doing something different. I heard a podcast midway through my internship, speaking from Eran, who's our co-CEO, co-founder. then CTO, and he was speaking about these crazy kooky concepts of company culture, transparency, and accountability, and ownership. And basically, that really resonated with someone working at a law firm. You can imagine that lawyers don't quite rise up to all of these. There are some that do, but at least from my experience, not so much. And basically, once I was able to apply, like Monday was the first place I went to, and it was amazing. I grew with the company. When I joined, we were less than 100 team members. And in the CS team, that was back then, it was less than 15 globally. And throughout the time, I grew and I developed as a person, as a professional, but also went into leadership, which is something that I cherish and kind of wake up for every day. And it got me to a point where I became a team lead, and then they were kind enough to also provide me with an opportunity to went on to go on and lead a group of multiple teams. And today I manage, I think, a bit over 30 people, team leads and team members together. All in all, quite the experience. I have to say that in terms of the platform, the evolution has been uncanny. We were speaking before the show, and I have to tell you that for me to see a company develop and grow so fast with such extraordinary people, with a culture that is fast execution and accountability and ability to share feedback with each other. It's something that I didn't believe I'll find, and that has kept me going day in and day out. And I believe that we've managed to really, really, really provide a great platform 4+ years ago when I joined, and I've continued to do so day in and day out, rolling out new features almost daily, and really looking out for business owners, both large and small, and medium, of course, to be able to reach business success. At the end of the day, we want to be an enabler. We want to be a tool that people are able to use and utilize to create the workflow of their dreams, regardless of what industry it is, what vertical, what use, what size. And I think Monday has been tremendous with that specifically.
I totally agree. And I know, when we were over, I forget how many floors you guys had, but I know now you're in a new building and getting ready to expand to 15 floors. So the growth has been obviously tremendous. And I think growth does not happen without good customer service. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think, people, the word gets out. Like if you have terrible customer service, like, that's one of the things we were talking about with Jay. He was talking about how, no, I think Mark Schaefer last week was talking about how in the post-COVID era, he is finding that customer service has declined in many spaces. Maybe it's because they don't have the help they need or whatever, but there's such a golden opportunity, I think, right now for us to shine in the customer service space. So with that said, what do you think, or how important, let me restate this, how important is customer service for any business? I feel like a lot of people, it's on the last rung of importance. And so what say you?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at customer service as a cost center, right? That's something that takes away money from the company and takes away from the bottom line. And I think something that I learned from Monday specifically, and it's something that I learned from my law firm days, also in terms of servicing different clients. And trust me, they had a lot of requests and demands. I think for me at Monday, the second team that was formed in the company was the customer success team. Our founders thought it to be super, super, super important to make sure that if people were putting in time and effort and we're taking a leap of faith, just like Rhonda took a leap of faith to try out Monday and to go and speak to you and says, like, listen, we need to use this. It's such a strong show of faith from any customer towards any business, that we need to make sure that we honor that, and we show on the customer service side that if anything comes up, if there's an issue, if there's something we need to consult about, at the end of the day, people want something resolved and they want to push forward with their own businesses. We in customer service, customer experience, need to make sure that we honor that, right? And something that has meant a lot to us from the get-go in the company has been, for instance, fast response time. It's something that's crucial for us. Why? Because we want to make sure that when someone has a thought, a question, a concern, a challenge that they're facing at the moment, their job is not to speak to us, right? Their job is to focus towards their goals and their success. So as long as they're engaged with the platform, with the service, whatever it is, we want to make sure to be there for them as efficiently as possible and as fast as possible, provide a quality answer. And I'm sure we'll dive a bit deeper to that, what it means to set up someone, a client for success, but to provide a fast and efficient answer for them to get back to their day-to-day, right? To make sure that they see us as a partner in this and not just, hey, you've submitted a credit card, or you're coming in to use the platform, the service, whatever. It's great to have you here and good luck to you. That's just not the way we want to kind of make it.
I so agree. You know, when we were there, we were really impressed with your customer service department because you had a countdown timer. You know, so if somebody is calling, it's on a timer, and like you know, and I'm assuming you still do that. So you can track, you know, like how long it's taking for customer service responses to get back to the customer and that kind of thing. And think about it, all of you who are listening or watching, even on the replay, if you are in a moment of crisis and you call to get help and you don't get help in the moment, or you feel like you have to wait too long, you know, how many, like my brother-in-law and sister had to get here from Germany for the funeral, and their flights had gotten all messed up, spent 5 hours on the phone trying to get through to customer service. Can you imagine the frustration? Here we are in a family crisis and all, you know, all this stuff, right? But you guys have such a great process for that. And you just talked about time. So what does that look like for you all? And then more specifically, I would like for you to address, like, how do we as the, like, even as a solo business owner, how do, if we're the only one, what's you know, what's normal? Like if we have to sleep, right? So what is the normal response time, or how do you handle it maybe if you can't respond in, you know, 5 seconds?
I think that's a great question. In terms of response times, you can imagine that when you visited us, we scaled just a tad. Since then, like, our entire operation has become more complex, more specialized. One thing that is super important for us to look at above response time, I would say, is at the moment it's very important for us to have that. It's also to identify the people that are just in that need. Right, you just mentioned about like something that needs to be tended to urgently, and for us, we have a queue specifically for that. We want to make sure that people that are having a show-stopping event that can't log in, or they wish to pay and something's stuck or not going in the direction that they want, or they're people that are really, really in the beginning of their journey, and we want to make sure that we give them that TLC that they need in order for them to understand the value and to be able to understand that, honestly, the pain points that they experienced in the last platform they used, they want to make sure that this is not a place where they'll see these same pain points yet again. So we want to make sure that we single these customers out and we get to them as fast as possible. Okay, as fast as possible in a matter of minutes. Why? Because for us, we want to make sure that people understand that we see them when they need us. And honestly, there are some cases that don't require a drop everything and answer me type a response time. And there are some cases that do. Okay, it requires effort and it requires a conscious decision to make sure that you prioritize well, in the sense that people will see that you really, really made an effort to be there for them where they needed you most. So that's with regards to response time for us. With regards to solo business owners, I have to say, since I know you have such a huge business following, I give it some thought also. And for me, I have to say that with regards to a lot of platforms that people use nowadays, sort of like Instagram, like YouTube, and a lot of other platforms that in Facebook that people use as sort of like even a business type endeavor, even WhatsApp that people use with a business account. From my point of view, I think it's really, really important. And instead of saying I hold myself to a certain standard, is to align expectation first and foremost with the customer that you're conversing with, right? So in a sense, it's really, really important to set, for instance, that you want to make sure that you get to someone by end of business day or up to 24 hours from the moment that they reached out. But you also want a pair of eyes looking at the messages. So you'll be able, again, if it's a solo business and you're doing everything on your own, to make sure that you understand the issue and you're prioritizing in your own mind within X amount of hours, i.e. triaging. And from there, being able to align with the customer, how much time is it going to take to respond? As a solo business owner, you know that there are also certain requests or certain cases that you want to tend to as fast as possible. Like I mentioned, whether it's about something around billing, that someone wants to literally purchase something and can't, whether it's around shipping, someone's waiting for something and can't receive it, doesn't know what the situation is. These are all requests that you want to tend to as fast as possible. If someone asking about like a shoe size in a shoe that no one has bought in a while, it's something that you'll be able to prioritize. Also prioritize to let's say like a longer time. I will say that as a solo business owner though, in my mind, wow customer service, you mentioned aha moments, is customer service that you are able to respond within hours or within minutes even. Again, within business hours, to do the best that you can. Once you grow a bit, and that's something also that maybe we can dive in later, is how do you set up the second or the first employee that you have or team member that is going to dive also deeper in terms of like providing support and customer service to your customers. What can we equip them with in order for them to kind of do a good job in taking some of that load off of you?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think is really great is, going back to the expectations, is having, if somebody fills out a customer service request, on your website or whatever, wherever you want to be connected or contacted, having an autoresponder that goes back with details. Thank you so much for reaching out. We love, helping our customers. But these are our business hours. You can expect a response within, whatever. That I think it's especially important within the framework of our business hours, knowing that you saw them and you'll get back to them when you get back in the office in the morning kind of thing, So if you could set that up, that's pretty something I think all of us can do. And then I would definitely want to circle back to, how do you set up that first customer service person, finding that customer service person. So we'll definitely circle back to that.
Sure.
So I mentioned this earlier, that I feel like a lot of businesses, have that customer service down way further in their priority list than you guys did when you started. So why do you think that most businesses have it like that? Like that it's farther down in the ecosystem. Why don't they focus more on customer service? Because it's so important for the lifetime retention of a customer. But what's your take on that? Is it why do they not focus on it?
I think people are complicated. I don't know if you've heard. I have. People, at the end of the day, customers, they can be challenging, they can be demanding, they can also be amazing and partners in your path and like a fantastically like a complimenting and everything. But at the end of the day, people are challenging. And I think what is less challenging is rolling out an additional feature or a releasing a new process or releasing a new whatever it is, an additional layer to the service that you're offering. Why? Because for product, R&D, design, whatever, it's them designing and them saying whatever it is that they want and just rolling with it. Customer service is where, in my mind, reality happens, right? And reality isn't always easy for everyone. And I think that, from my point of view, I think every time that I step up to make any decision around around the team, around the direction that we're going, alongside with the Natalie, the VP that I work with, and my colleagues and the team leads I work with, at the end of the day, we ask ourselves one very important question: what would the customer want? Right? What would the customer want? And that's something that, for us, there are a lot of companies that say they're customer centric or customer obsessed or customer oriented and all of these great things. But you need to really ask yourself multiple times a day, does that make sense? Is this what my customer would want for me to put forth for them as a service, as a response time, as a quality of response, of work, of craftsmanship, and all of that is super, super, super complicated to take into account. Again, you would much rather focus on your own decision making as opposed to bring in a lot of others. But at the end of the day, the reason why I'm sitting in my apartment is because at the end of the day, I pay rent. The reason why I pay rent is because I'm employed. The reason why I'm able to come to work every day and have really a blast with some amazing people is because we have so many amazing customers that put their faith in us day in and day out. Okay, and if they're not receiving what they need from us, then what the hell are we talking about? Sorry for, I don't know if I can say it.
Yeah, no, it's amen. Say it. Yeah. I think, so often we're focused on the next customer that we don't take care of our existing customers sometimes too. You said something at the beginning that I loved, and I meant to highlight it, and I'm going to circle back to it. When people spend money with us, whether they buy a product or a service or, a tool or, whatever, we need to honor that. Like, that's so powerful. And sometimes I think we take it for granted versus and then how do we make that experience the best possible experience? And I agree with you. I think lots of times brainstorming that experience can be hard for people, which leads me to one of my questions that I had further down, but it's such a nice segue that I'm going to just go into it right quick. What is the difference between customer service and a customer experience?
It's a great question. Before we get to that, I just want to say something small in terms of, a lot of times people also worry about the next case in customer service, but also they care about getting the new customer, right? Cool, we got this customer, let's get the next customer to join and join the platform, join the service, whatever it is. It's really important to remember that expansion is a key as well for businesses, for people to be return customers, for people to grow with the platform, for not, for instance, in Monday's, let's say, area, it's not for someone to remain with a 5-user account, but also to grow and to add additional people into the service and into the platform to show that a vote of faith and confidence. And also, honestly, between us, it doesn't cost the company as much to expand existing customers as opposed to the marketing spend that they'll need to do in customer acquisition cost to get a new customer to onboard to the platform. Sorry, I digressed. I hope that makes sense.
Such a great thing that you just said. So, if you, a lot of businesses, I don't think understand the cost of their customers. How much is it costing you to acquire that new customer? And if you don't know that, you need to know that. Especially if you're spending marketing dollars, you need to understand how much money is it costing me to acquire this new customer. If your customers are bumping into you, I call it bumping into because they see you in social media or wherever, that's a free customer acquisition sort of. But satisfied customers bring you more customers, and that lowers your customer acquisition cost. If somebody says, hey, I bought this blah blah blah, or this product or this service, or I'm using this tool and I love it, I'm telling you guys, we love Monday.com. You're more likely to say, hey, I need to go check this tool out because Kim said they're using it, they love it. And that lowers Monday.com's customer acquisition costs because they didn't have to pay for that. I mean, but they did pay for it in one aspect. They took care of us as a customer.
Exactly.
And
And
that's
also,
very important.
I agree. And also, just imagine, Kim, from your point of view, you shared an experience that you had with the airline, right?
Yeah.
And just imagine, listen, a bad experience is infectious, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As much as a good experience is. And a lot of times the bad one, people feel a lot more willing to share, right?
Yes.
And I have to tell you that if I ask you now, how many people you've shared that poor experience and that 5 hour wait time until you tell me that more than one, more than two, let's be
Mm.
honest.
Yeah, I mean, what I find is fascinating is people are way more likely to leave bad reviews than they are positive reviews because they're mad as heck. I mean, they are frustrated. They want other people to know what a poor experience they had. And if people do have a poor experience with you, trust me, they're way more likely to tell about it than if they have that nice, lovely experience, or if they just have a mediocre experience. They just don't tell those things. It's just okay. They just go on their way. So it is super important, I think, to, yeah. I mean, if they have a bad experience, they're so going to tell about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So
Um,
so
I'll go
going
back.
back to the experience versus, I know we kind of deviated, but that's good. That was gold there. So difference though between cu-
Yeah.
customer service and a customer experience.
So that's a great question. I have to say that from the get-go, when we look at the team members that or the talent that we look to hire from the get-go, we look for people that are creative problem solvers. We look for people that not only are able to are people's people, which is, by the way, the answer that I hear from every interview that I do about when I ask why customer experience. It's not about people's people. It's about people that are creative and thoughtful and are able to solve problems while remaining empathetic and seeing the person in front of them. And I think, and being able to put themselves in their shoes, by the way, when doing something in a repetitive fashion, which is a challenge. And for me, the difference between customer service and customer experience hinges on the setup for success. Okay. Customer service is more hinged around, I have a problem, here is a solution, thank you very much, appreciate you, and goodbye. I think for customer experience is something that's truly important is not only look at the problem that someone's having or the challenge and solving that, but it's also making sure that you foresee and you look ahead in their road, being a product service expert and understanding where they're going to fall or where they're going to hit a hiccup or experience a setback that at the end of the day will get them back to the same point, which is to come and speak to the service team or to the CX team. And when I look at team members, and I'm blessed with amazing, amazing, amazing team members on my team, each and every one of them is not about just that specific solution. They're all about understanding where the person is in their journey, what their expertise are, what's their level of a understanding of the platform, okay, and where they want to go. Okay, what's their use case? Asking questions, making sure that the time that they do spend with us, again, people don't work in reaching out to customer experience team, but if we have them, let's make sure that we see them. Okay, not only customer asking a question, this is a customer somewhere in their journey with us, with a set of expertise, with knowledge, with a specific problem coming from a specific industry, with a specific use case. And let's make sure that we not only answer the question, but we answer it in context and make sure that we supply them with also an understanding of what they're going to experience moving forward in their journey in order to make sure they are fulfilled with the question and above that, they're set up for success. That's kind of the way I see it, if that makes sense, Kim.
Yeah, it does. And, this is sort of in alignment, and it's going to lead to another question, based on a couple of scenarios I've heard of how other brands are doing how they're handling this and giving people a better experience, if you will. So, like, Jay Bear was on a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about how DoubleTree uses the cookies, right? You go to a DoubleTree and they give you the cookie. And he talked about they give away 43,000 cookies a day. And of those 43,000 cookies, it generates about 25,000 social comments. So that's stunning. That's what I call, word of mouth marketing. Where you really get some buzz off of something very specific.
For
I've
sure.
also heard of like Starbucks, who enables their frontline workers essentially with certain things. They can give a 20% discount at will. They have so many like things that they can do to provide that better customer experience. Do you guys do anything like that where you have a customer that's super frustrated and you want to give a better experience, like, hey, we can do XYZ to make this better? I'm just not solving the problem, but I'm making it a richer experience.
I think that's a fantastic question. I have to say that for me, one of the main things that we preach towards is empowering the team members that we have and trusting them to be able to, within that, that wish that we have for creative problem solvers, to be able to empower them to go the distance, right? To make sure that given a specific situation with a customer, whether it's fantastically good or fantastically bad, to do what they need in order to make it better. And it can go in many different routes, whether it's like to provide them with additional time with us, on us to jump on a screen share and talk specifically about their workflow, to escalate it, to get a dev, right, to get a developer to come and sit down with the customer and the CX team member, and to hash out what the issue is, okay, and to give them or even bring in a product person to come and hear the feedback front and foremost. I think one of the cool things that we have, if you wanna hear about like something that's distinct, and it's something that's pretty cool, is we have a way to reach our CEOs. So like for our customers, if they want to reach out to Roy and Eran and they want to share what's frustrating, what's a bit of an issue for them, and they want to make their feedback heard, by all means, we have a direct line to them as well. So it's all about empowering the team members that you have, trusting them to and providing them with a toolkit and a set of things that they can do that isn't limited in a sense of like just provide a discount or additional time or stuff like that, but to really think outside the box, okay, and to try to narrow down what this specific customer would like to hear, would like to experience, would like to receive from us, in order to, at the end of the day, turn a poor experience into an amazing one, or even an all right experience into an amazing one. It just provides value all around. Sorry.
I love that. Definitely. When people feel like they have a say in, future development or future hey, you've created a solution to a problem I have, and thank you for that. I think that's super powerful. When it comes to customer service, what do you think are the most important skills to have? Um, you know, and I want to dig into like a little bit more in a moment about like how do you find that person, but I feel like you have to identify what the skills are before you start searching for a person. So what are the skills that people need in order to provide good customer service?
It's a great question. And I think that it's something that we also sat down to define when, as we scale, we have more and more people interviewing. We have more and more people within that, like a candidate experience, like and we want to make sure that we all understand what we're looking for as we interview a candidate. For me, something that's super, super important is, first and foremost, that person needs to be really, really humble. Okay. And the reason why I say humble is it, of course, spirals into many things. But for me, humble is the person that's able to listen. We handle and deal with the platform day in and day out The team members, they know the platform pretty much by heart and are able to provide values and solve problems quite fast. On the other hand, the customer that they're facing doesn't. Most times, okay? We speak to people regardless of where they are in their journey, right? And the person needs to be humble and needs to be thoughtful and needs to be empathetic in order to first and foremost understand that they have a person in front of them that's not in the same place in their journey as they are. And they need to make sure that they align the knowledge and the way they explain and the way they approach solving this issue in a way that will speak and make the most impact on that specific customer. So for me, that's like something that's first and foremost super important. I'm also looking for people that honestly are able to break through walls in a sense. So if you can imagine, like what we do is solve problems day in, day out, a case in, case out, customer in, customer out, and it's something for us solving this problem. Not everything has a macro, a really easy answer. A lot of it, specifically in a platform as intuitive but more complex platform like Monday, that you're able to really, it's building blocks. You're able to build whatever you want. Answers don't always come easily. And for me, I'm looking for people that are able to really invest themselves and like look at each customer and really find not only a solution that makes sense through trial and error, through trying it out for the user, for the customer, him or herself, but also making sure that they take it and then make it readily accessible for others on the team as well. It's something that's truly important to remember about customer service in general. The fact that one person reaches out to you with a problem does not mean that they are the only person facing that problem. A lot of times it's like dozens and dozens more. Same goes towards team members. I just had a conversation with new team members today, and I tried to tell them that for me, what I expect from them as new team members on the team, that if they find something that they don't have a solution towards, they don't have an internal knowledge base article, they can find a ready-made answer or something that will lead them down that direction. One thing is find a solution, try things out yourself, sink your teeth into it. And two, make sure that you're setting up the people after you towards success, the new team members that will onboard a month later. And that's the type of thing that I really expect from people. It's kind of broad-mindedness. It's super Israeli in a sense. And I think last but not least, I'm genuinely looking for people that, in my mind, in terms of customer service, I'm looking for people that are able to understand the place that they're in for the customer, time in and time out. I think that a lot of times when I interview people, they'll tell me, listen, if I have a customer that's more challenging and it's a bit more draining in terms of the experience, it might bring me down, right? Which makes complete sense. Trust me, I've spoken to customers, a lot of them super delighted, and some of them also not so much. But at the end of the day, something that's truly important to remember is that the next customer that we speak to has no idea about the challenging customer we just spoke to a second ago, right? And for them, it does not make sense for one customer to spoil the experience of 10 or 15 or 20 more, right? So I need someone to also be able to really focus on the person at hand and be able to find the energies to lift themselves up even from a difficult experience and refine that focus, that motivation to be able to provide extraordinary service regardless of the day being more or less challenging.
So your last one, I'm going to tag in. I feel like what you were saying is the customer is always right, in the sense that you, as the customer service rep, needs to always meet them where they are. Essentially, they always have to have that energy to deal with a difficult person. Some are more difficult than others, right? But you have to always meet them where they are, which requires, if you have a bad experience on the phone, you have to overcome that every time you pick up the phone again, right? That can be difficult, and I see why that would be such a powerful thing to look for in someone that you want to hire. So that begs the question, how do you how do you find those people? Because those are some pretty interesting characteristics that they need. Is there a, I mean, just for, hey, I got a customer service job. I mean, how do you find these amazing people? Because they have to be amazing.
Yo, Kim, really amazing and also really difficult, right? I have to say that Israel has some distinct challenges in terms of workforce. When we look at a long time ago, like Israel is known as a startup nation, and a lot of times companies would look for that exit, for that basically like to grow the company to a certain extent, and then to sell the company to a larger company or stakeholder, whatever, in a different part of the world. And today, Monday, I think is at the forefront of companies wanting to grow in Israel. And growing in Israel has a lot of challenges, specifically around people that are able to do the job that we're speaking of. One really important piece of something to remember: language, right? We need people that are able to converse fluently in English, right? English is not the mother tongue here, let me tell you. And it's also challenging at the forefront of being able to speak to your customers wherever they are. Secondly, it's something that also, as I mentioned, all the characteristics that we need. One thing that has been super important for me, for me, this is like the outlet for my creativity. I have to say, how do we reach the demographic that we want to reach? We use many different ways. One, thankfully, the Monday brand here in Israel is a strong one, and people really want to work at Monday and be affiliated with the company and kind of jump on and join the rocket ship. But in general, CX and support doesn't necessarily have a good reputation. So one of the things that we've done is, one, we've put out a series of blogs that each of them describe a different aspect. So we put out one blog that basically tallies the entire hiring process, gives tips and tricks, and tells people what to expect from each phase, and also describes a day in the life of a customer experience team member, including a mock schedule and stuff like that. We put out another blog that speaks about what people have learned by doing this position. We also market ourselves as the first job in tech for people, i.e., a lot of time beforehand, we would look for people that just want to do customer experience, and we were very stern on it. But in fact, we understood that we're in fact like very proud of our ability to take people without any relevant experience and make them into client-facing juggernauts, and be able to grow, hopefully within Monday, whether it's within customer experience or in customer success and like the managed account aspect of it, or grow anywhere else in the company. I look at our ability to be a sort of an academy to Monday and an academy to client facing. And I think that really, really resonated with a lot of candidates because they really got a chance to read up a lot about us and understand it's not just like your typical like jumping from ticket to ticket and providing really like a dull macro response and on to the next. And also, one thing that if I'm able to contribute for my part, I think the thing that makes the most difference is interviews, in a sense of meeting the people and the managers and the team members that you're going to work with. At the end of the day, we all want to work with great people, and we all want to come to work and experience a great environment and culture. And one thing that I have to say, really 10 times out of 10 or 100% of the times, genuinely leaves a great feeling with people or candidates within the process is or are the people that they interview with. To see them, to hear them, to understand that they're nice people and they're down to earth and they want for people to succeed and they're passionate about what they do. I think all of that really carries a tremendous weight. And also, listen, it's a challenge finding people, but it's something that you constantly need to feed. And as I mentioned, like it's huge for my creativity because every time that I have this new idea, I see something cool on LinkedIn, I see something cool online, I have a thought of my own. I immediately go to the recruiter I work with, to the team leads I work with, and I'm like, listen, I have something, or they can do the same and come with an idea to us. At the end of the day, we want to continue bringing amazing people, and we want to provide them value just as much. And yeah, I spoke too much, right, Kim?
Good. Yeah. I think that the challenges you guys are having, and I think it's across the board, a lot of people are having trouble finding quality people these days. But, when it comes to customer service, I really feel like we need to step into it a whole lot deeper. Now, I know you mentioned this. I know the answer to this, but I want to paint the picture of how you can start to make your customer service processes easier. So, what solutions have you created as a result of some of your customer problems that you continuously encounter so that your customer service reps can respond to things quicker? So what are those, what does that solution look like? I know you have like, frequently asked questions or knowledge bases, or can you explain like what that looks like? And maybe not so much, and then how do you find those solutions quickly? Like, if it's a brand new person and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what does that look like when the customer calls and says, I have this problem?
Yeah, I think that. So listen, in terms of processes and stuff like that, I think it starts with the solo business owner or entrepreneur. It's as early as that. No one knows your brand better than you. No one speaks the brand language that you would like for them to speak better than you. And I think that it really, really great customer service starts with you as an example. And I think that at first, a lot of people do things on their own. They respond to clients, and they really go through the entire flow solo. And I think that if you want to, I think the state of mind, if I may, the state of mind that you need to be in a state of mind of I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna scale in a second. I'm gonna bring a person in a second. Tomorrow, I'm gonna need to explain this to someone else, and it really starts with the ability of first and foremost understanding the questions that you're receiving, right? And always making sure that you create self-serve solutions, okay, for both customers and team members that you'll onboard in the future. Now, what do I mean? At the end of the day, when we look at the frequently asked questions and stuff like that, people want to find their answers alone, okay? Simply put, people would much rather read an article most times than to wait for a customer service rep to get back to them, or like until and provide them a solution. It takes longer. Okay, and from my point of view, it's really important from the get-go to understand what questions you're receiving. Right, you need to, in my mind, you need to either wait and automate or wait and create a self-serve solution. So if you have, for instance, you're a sole entrepreneur or a business owner, and you see that on a daily basis, you're receiving 2, 3, 5 of these same requests. That's something that you need to now think about and set aside, and understand that you need to factor in the amount of time that it takes you to respond to these, okay, as opposed to the amount of time that it will take you to write up an article, okay, and post that on your website, okay, and have people either find their solution there, or for you to be able to direct them to that resource and find the answer than you writing and typing everything on your own. Similarly, you can absolutely go and make sure that you create amazing answers, right? So let's say that you're a solo business owner and you now find yourself in a place where you gave a great answer, and you found that that is the type of voice that you would like your brand to have, okay? And that's the type of scenario that you believe will come back again in the future. Save that answer, right? Make sure you store it, and make sure that you really have it in a place where when the next person comes and takes over customer service or shares it with you, you're able to tell them, listen, stop for a second before we get to cracking. This is what I want you to focus on. This is the type of language, this is the type of approach. It could be formal, it could be less formal. We believe in a non-formal approach, but store everything that you have that you believe garnered a great response and a great let's say satisfaction from the customer, and create a small basket for both your internal, i.e. team members, and also for your customers as you go. It's a constant effort with regards to a knowledge base, with regard to videos and guides and webinars and stuff like that. That's just like as you scale. But at the end of the day, people want a quick, easy solution as much as possible, and they need to reach out to your team or to you when it really gets more complex.
So great. You know, as you're first starting out, I love what you said. Like, you know, hey, how do I reset my login for my membership, right? Simple things. If you're getting those questions all the time, have a place where people can get the answer. Start constructing those responses in your voice. That's the way we did it when we first started. Like, you know, instead of my team trying to figure it out, hey, Kim, how would you respond to this person? I would quickly type it out, and then that's now a copy and paste script that we use to respond to people who ask that question. Or we have a place, you know, if some of our sales pages have FAQs on them, you know, to eliminate a lot of customer service overload, because they're the same questions like all the time. But if you don't have those things in place, it can be a burden to just take the time every day to answer 5 of the same questions. Like, you know, just have processes in place. And then if you start doing this, then when you do hire your first person to do your customer service, all that stuff is done. It makes it so much easier than, you know, trying to create it or having someone else create it it's kind of behind the curve, if you will.
Exactly.
So I love that. So, Ron, how can everyone connect with you? Where would be a great place? Like if they want to ask, you know, use the tool, they want to explore some more, they have a customer service question that, you know, we didn't get around to answering, or whatever. Where do you want everyone to connect with you at?
So LinkedIn will be absolutely amazing, and I sent over the profile as well. I have to say, I opened Twitter for the first time yesterday because Kim, honestly, your team convinced me to do so. Not because they actively said so, but just for me. For the life of me, I can't even remember my handle. It's new. Forgive me. And I know it's like I'm 30 odd years old. I need to know these things, but LinkedIn is still my absolute go to, if that's okay.
It's so
Yeah.
funny that you said that. I dropped it in, and it's in the comments area as well. So definitely go check out and connect with Ron over on LinkedIn. I just want to give a quick shout out to our winners. Jenny won the Chaos Coordinator shirt. So Jenny, you can wear it or you can give it to a team member, whichever one, whoever is doing the Chaos organization in your business, you'll now have that. And then Tim won the Serve Don't Sell mug. So Tim, if you guys will just go over to kimgarst.com/winner, drop in your shipping details, we'll get that out to you guys. So I love our conversation today. Thank you so much, Ron, for coming and sharing with us. I just feel so strongly about customer service. And, you know, one of the things, and I did talk about this before, but I'm going to just close out with this. One of the things that we've been able to do, instead of trying to, I think when you have customer service, sometimes there's that back and forth, like especially if you're trying to handle it through email. And we've been able to integrate our customer service into Monday. So it allows us to track the conversations, and the team, you know, if we have we call it an escalation policy. So if a team member can't handle, it gets to a point when they just can't handle the response, you know, they've done all they can do, then it escalates to someone else higher in the organization, right? So, and sometimes it gets all the way to me, you know, and I have to make the decision on, you know, sometimes it's a request for a refund or whatever, you know, and it doesn't meet the normal qualifications for a refund. So, you know, they keep in, and then they tag me and I make a decision. So the neat part about it is you can use a tool to help you process and keep your customer service organized. That's essentially one of the many ways that we use Monday.com. I know you guys obviously have a much more sophisticated customer service process for using your tool, but still, it's an incredible way to get started and actually have a process, a procedure for how you manage your customer service. So I just wanted to share that real quick with everyone. But thank you again, Ron, for being with us. Everybody, please connect with Ron over on LinkedIn. Test out, go get an account at Monday if you don't have one, and test it out. Start using it. If you have questions, you can. They have customer service, y'all. Great customer service.
We
So
try.
call them, text them, call them up. They'll help you out. So again,
Kim,
thanks.
I have to say that just from my point of view, I want to say that also for me, it's what you just mentioned should be another conversation that we have, because there's a bucket load of things to talk about when it comes to how to manage it well, in terms of escalation, in terms of like knowing your customer really well as they come back, because that's what people want nowadays. They want to
Yes.
be memorable, and they want first service to be personalized, and they're much more tender in terms of like the data that you save on them, in if that means that they get a personalized service experience. And I will say, in terms of the flip side of it, in terms of just in general, I think that for me there's something really, really so amazing about what customer service, customer experience has become. It's not, someone that's like something that's like, is it, there's a seat at the table for customer experience, and more companies are understanding it and are buying in, are leaning in. And I think I am super, super proud to be a part of this industry, and to be able to impact so many people, and to continue to improve alongside my team members. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity to come speak to you. It's been absolutely tremendous.
It's been amazing. So you guys put your hands together for Ron, connect with him. I want to say thanks to all of you guys who are hung in here with us live, or you're watching on the replay, listening on the replay. Thank you guys. I know time is valuable, and when you spend it with us, we appreciate it. All right. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, and God bless.